Hello to another section of Straight Talk with Jimmy Tai. Based on all the questions that we got from the audience, the topic that we're going to discuss today is how to find happiness in life. And with me in the studio today, one of our hostesses for the program Life and Psychology, Miss Flanders Tao. Hello, Tao.
Hi everybody from VNTV.
All right, Tao, first up, can you give our audience a little bit about your background and also your professional experience in the field of psychology and life?
In psychology and life. Well, a little bit about me. So I have a master's in marriage and family children counseling. I've worked in a psychiatric mental hospital. I've worked in a wide range. So I've worked with children before, and I've worked with geriatric patients, and I've also worked in like a rehab facility for addictions.
Right.
So a little bit of a little bit here and there.
Okay, pretty cool. Now the first question that we're going to hit you with from the audience is that what do the empty nester, midlife crisis, and also couple breakup have in common?
Oh wow. So these are three big topics that we actually go through a lot in therapy, right? So the differences, they sound like they're very different. The empty nesters, midlife crisis, and then divorce. But they all have one common theme, which is a disruption in the regular routine or pattern in life, as you can say. Okay. So it's a disruption in their daily life, basically. So they share that. Mm-hmm.
So just because now they have the disruption that messed up and lead to the three common threats that we mentioned about midlife crisis and then empty nester and divorce, does that mean that to be happy in life you need to have a life purpose or goals?
Mm-hmm. My opinion, and from what I've seen, through a lot of people, is yes, you do need a purpose, you do need a goal, because that's the reason that we wake up in the morning. That's the reason that we do things that we do. Right. The sense of purpose. Like some people's sense of purpose is to get rich. So every day they wake up and that's their purpose. They want to do everything. And some people say, well, my sense of purpose is to be happy. Right. So whatever your purpose is, that's your driven force. And again, when we go back to the three scenarios that you gave us, like, the marriage, it's now divorce. So all their purpose was to fulfill this relationship, and now it's gone. So now they lose that sense of purpose, and that's what causes, the hectic and the chaos.
I see. So we definitely need to have a sense of purpose, right? to be able to have a happy life. So now you heard a lot about the trifecta of mind, body, spirit, right? Yes. That's go with your intellectual, your physical being, and your religious belief. Mm-hmm. But the next question from our audience, where's the heart fit in this trifecta? Where is this emotional being fit into what is my body and heart? I mean, soul.
Well, when we talk about our well-being, right, from all these things, your body, your mind, your spiritual being. Right. And then when we talk about the heart really is just an organ, it pumps blood. But people tend to relate to it a lot as in like an emotional organ that makes you feel and make these decisions. So if you're talking about what the heart wants and where should it should be everywhere. Right. Because to have a healthy mind, you kind of need to emotionally be happy and be stable, right? So physically you can feel well. Mm-hmm. Like some people, they have cancer or they don't feel well, but they're happy or they're just really at peace with themselves. Right. And they're fine. They're
getting better.
Yeah,
right.
They get better. Yeah. They feel better, or at least they physically feel a little bit better. Whereas if you're down and you're depressed or you have anxiety, physically you don't feel well at all. Like people who are depressed can't get out of bed. People who feel anxiety have all sorts of acid reflux and all sorts of problems. Right. So to have a healthy body, yes, you need a healthy heart or emotions. Right. For spiritually, I think that spiritually it's a big deal to emotionally be there, because you have to kind of feed onto your emotions spiritually, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. So when you're trying to be a spiritual being, why? It's because you're trying to be at ease, at peace emotionally. Right. So it goes hand in hand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we talk about the spiritual at ease, all of that thing, be compassionate is very important, correct? Mm-hmm. And yet at the same time, you mentioned a lot about people have a passion to go for life, to get rich, or to be happy and whatnot. So how do you balance between the passion of doing something and then the compassion for others that might conflict? For example, let's say a husband really wants to do charitable works, right? And that might conflict with his wife's passion for him to be home with her.
Right.
So what is your professional advice in that situation?
Well, so what I think is, let's back up, right? When we're talking about relationships, so let's talk about marriage. When you're in a marriage, it's a form of two people.
Right.
So now we're talking about two people who enters a relationship. Well, the first thing to have a healthy marriage is to have a common goal, common purpose.
Right.
You can't have a healthy relationship if one person wants to, go to the mountains and the other wants to go to the ocean, because then that just kind of like, where do you go, right? So that's the beginning step is, if you're gonna be in a relationship, you need to understand that it's important to have love and passion, but at the same time, it's also very necessary to have a common goal, right? And then once you have a common goal, well, let's go. If you don't have a common goal, it doesn't mean that you always end up in divorce. That's not true. There's something called compromise, right? So, the husband wants A, the wife wants B. Well, how can we make it a little bit half and half where we're happy? Don't think that, I'm going to do whatever my husband wants and, I'm just going to stick to it and that's what's going to make the family work. Well, it's not, because when you really, give in and give all, you're going to lose yourself and eventually you're not going to be a happy being. And then when that really hits, then it really falls apart.
With the disruption.
Right. And that's when people say, hey, I don't want to be here anymore because I'm not happy, again, with the emotion being. Right. Because you're not happy, you don't want to be there. Yeah. Why would you want to be at a place when you're unhappy? So compromise if you don't have a common goal. And even if you have a common goal, sometimes your outlook might not be the same. Like, you want to be doing charitable work, but doesn't mean that your wife is going to do the same charity and the husband's going to do the same charity. Right. So everything takes compromise.
Right. Yeah. Now, you just said what I believe to be the magic word, compromise, right? And to reach compromise, there needs to be a lot of communication, right? So in your opinion, how important it is to have open and honest communication in the family, among parents, children, elderlies, and even some of your soulmates?
Oh, some of our soulmates.
Yeah, not all.
You're only supposed to have one soulmate. But so, when we talk about open communication, so let's talk about the Vietnamese people, right? The culture. Right. So the thing is, being in our generation, it's kind of difficult because our parents, our grandparents have a different form of communication. Right. They want you to listen when they speak. They want you to be quiet and not have an opinion, right? Because that's their culture. That's what they grew up in. But for us, younger generations, and it's not just for the younger generations in America, it's all over the world now. What they're promoting is, speak your mind, be confident, say what you should. That's how you make a change and make a difference. So for me, I personally feel like it's really difficult to be in our generation because we're trying to teach our children to kind of do the right thing for our parents, but at the same time, they need to do they need to be themselves. They need to be competent when they're in the world. That's right. With the rest of their peers. Right. So what I think is the key is be open and honest, but at the same time be respectful. Because at the end of the day, the older generation will understand if you speak to them respectfully, and the younger generation will need to speak their mind.
Right, openly.
Yes.
Right. All right, you gave us a lot of wonderful answers. So here's my last question. So with all of these, in your opinion, for your own life and your own family, to find happiness in life, what is your final advice for our audience? So what I think the key ingredient in life is, time and making use of time, making value of your time. Because like nowadays, if you notice, children at a very young age, 4 or 5, they start having so many activities, like my son, he's in soccer, he's in jiu-jitsu, he's in so many things. And then when you get older and you start school, you have so many things you have to be prepared for. You need to get into the wonderful colleges and universities now. It's so competitive. That's right. So then as you get older, you enter the workforce, there you go, more work, right? It's never ending. And less time. Yes, less time. So the key to life for me is making value of my time. So, there's that philosophy that we all hear is the cup half empty or full? Right. Well, I try to see things every day as a cup being half full, right? Full. Because when you start seeing things empty, you start seeing things negatively, and then what happens is that's your kind of view, your perspective on life. And that just brings everybody down, right? That just makes your mood turn down, that makes your mental state turn down, and really that affects everybody around you too. So make use of your time and think positively. If you had a choice,
Just think positively. You know, we're lucky we have 3 meals a day. We're lucky we have fresh water to drink. We're happy with the house we live in. You know, there are people who don't. So just looking at that, we should be happy.
Wow, awesome advice. Yeah. So basically, to have a happy life, all you need to do is respect of your time, have a positive outlook about life, be appreciative of what you have. And with me, you know that I will not end the program without saying, try to live life with passion, compassion, and with no regrets. With that, we thank you for your attention and hope to see you again at our next segment.